Hi guys, welcome back to the vlog. We're going to be off at Capital Casino again, looking at that 1-3 game. It's been very active the last few days. So we're going to head on out there. I just want to take a quick minute to say thank you all for subscribing and supporting the channel. Your feedback has been wonderful. I learned a lot from your comments. And I look forward to improving my game and improving the vlog as we go. So thanks once again, and sit back, relax, enjoy. Here it comes. We're at Capital Casino in the 1-3 game. We sit down with 500. This is the second hand off the deck. We have one limper in middle position. We raise to 25 with 2 10s. The small blind puts in the call. He has about 140 in his stack, and the original limper calls. He has about 500. Flop comes 3 deuce 3. Pretty good flop for our hand. We have an overpair. The small blind now jams for $140, and the limper ends up folding. I have some history with the small blind. We are very friendly. We joke and kid a lot. And I asked him if he had anything or whether he was gambling. And he said that he had something. And so I'm trying to put the pieces together. And what I've came up with is he probably has either a medium pocket pair and is trying to price out hands like ace, king, ace, queen. Or maybe he was slow playing something a little bit bigger, maybe jacks or queens. I think with aces or kings he would have went ahead and re-raised pre-flop. So I'm really debating on whether I want to put 140 at risk here. I'm thinking that he might have somewhere between 7s, 8s, and 9s, and then there was jacks and queens. So it was a real tough decision. Being that there was only 140 to call and there's already $78 in the pot, I went ahead and put it in. And he turns over 2 kings. I did not expect that. I thought he might have jacks, was the most likely hand. But I was really hoping he had something like 8s or 9s. Anyway, first hand we play, we get a little stuck. We open for a raise to 15 with 9-10 suited. We get a call from the button and the big blind. So we go 3 ways to the flop with 45 in. Flop is queen, jack 4 with 1 club. So when the big blind checks me, I go ahead and c-bet for 15. The button folds and just the big blind calls. Turn card is a 5 of clubs. He checks again, and I'm going to continue here. I figure about a half pot size bet would do the trick. So I bet 35, and he thinks for a little bit and decides on a fold. I think maybe I should size up a little bit bigger. Maybe instead of 35, go 45 next time. I'm in the small blind with ace-2 suited. It gets raised to $8 and got 4 callers, so I go ahead and call with my ace-deuce. Flop comes ace high, and I end up checking. Player goes all in for $5. The other 3 players call him rather quickly, so I put in the call for 5. Turn card is a deuce. I decide to check it. I'm thinking that the person in the low jack is going to bet. He likes to bet when check 2, especially after the second round. And he puts out a small bet for $20. Now the cutoff raises to 40. They only have about $80 behind. The low jack has a pretty big stack, so I don't want him to get a cheap draw at anything. So I go ahead and raise to 120 to put the cutoff all in and force out the low jack if he has some sort of flush draw. The low jack ends up folding, and the cutoff puts in the remaining chips. I toss in an extra chip just in case they had more than 120. I had a vlog watcher sitting to my direct right named Kevin, and he happened to say that he had ace deuce this particular hand, and I told him that I got pretty lucky because I have ace deuce also, and the ace deuce was good, and we take down this nice pot. So we have about 500 in our stack, and we're on the button with 2 6s. The cutoff raises to 13. I call, and now the small blind re-raises to $101. The big blind folds, and it comes back around to the cutoff, who thinks for a moment before announcing $350, which is enough to definitely price me out, and it covers the person in the small blind who quickly calls. I decided to keep the camera rolling just so we get a look. The person in the cutoff had 2 jacks. The person in the small blind said they were flipping and had ace king, and ace was right in the flop, and the other cards did not help. We looked down at 2 black kings from the low jack and raised to 15. The big blind and an early limper under the gun put in the call. The big blind now bets out for $25 on a flop of 10-3-6 with 2 spades. I'm putting them on a hand like either a pair of 10s or more likely a flush draw by the way they were acting. Turn card comes as a 9 of diamonds, and they seem to like it, and they size up to 75. Now, I really don't think they have a 2-pair type of hand. I mean, they could have had some sort of combo draw with like 7-8 of spades. Also, 10-9 was also a possibility, but the way they put the chips out makes me think they're trying to force me out, more like a flush draw and not a made hand. And when the 10 of hearts comes on the river, my heart's sunk because I go, it's possible they were barreling with a 10 all this way. They looked like they wanted to bet, and then they decided against it. So I just check it back, and they had ace-3 offsuit and was trying to force me off with a pair of 3s. This was a fun hand. I raised with king-queen offsuit from middle position. The button and the big blind put in the call. So we go 3 ways to a flop with 45 in the pot. The flop is 4-4-7 with 2 spades. So we completely whiff this. The big blind now leads for $15. I've seen him do this before with weak hands, like drawing hands. And I decided to float here for the $15. The button folds. So we go heads up to the turn of a jack of clubs. He again bets out $15. I think he's very weak. I don't think he has anything. So I decided to raise to 60. And he thinks for quite a bit before putting in the call. I think he has something like a flush draw, possibly a straight draw, or maybe just a weak 7. So after he calls, we go to a river with 195 in the pot. And the river is a deuce of hearts. He quickly checks, and just to ensure that he doesn't have a hand like a lone 7, I go ahead and fire the 3rd barrel and put him to the test for $120. He doesn't think too long before releasing his hand. Hey, just take a little quick time out here to look down there at those buttons, the like and subscribe button. Also, if you care to share it, I'm okay with that. Go ahead and share it with a friend, share it with a group. The more the merrier. We're trying to build something special here, and I need you guys to help out. I was still stacking my chips from that king-queen bluff hand, and I looked down at 2 red 8s and raised to 15. We end up getting 5 callers for the $15. And so we really want to hit something good on this flop. The flop was 5, 5, 7. Can't ask for much more than that. When it gets checked to me, I go ahead and bet 35. I want to price out like overcards and other weak hands. It gets folded back to the big blind. He's a very sticky player. I'm hoping that he has a 7. I figure if he does, I can get max value. And when the 5 of hearts comes on the turn, I'm really happy to have my hand. He checks again. I don't want to lose him. I'm hoping that he just has that lone 7. So I size to 50. It's 1/3 pot. I probably should go closer to 1/2, but I was really trying to get him involved because I know I can get a really big bet on the river with a safe card. He puts in the call, and then the 5 of spades comes on the river. He checks quickly to me, and I'm thinking, oh, this sucks. I decided to go ahead and bet just in case he had a hand like 9-7, 10-7, even a jack-7. I figure if he had any of those middling cards, he might lay it down for a bet. So I put out a bet for $60, hoping that he would fold. He would probably call with an ace or a king. But to my surprise, he had ace-king and just flat called and turned his cards over. This hand reminds me of one from last vlog. I have ace-king under the gun, raised to 15. It gets folded to the small blind, who is a action player. He puts in the call for the 15. And then when it gets to the big blind, he raises to 63. Now this person would not raise unless they had the goods. And type of hands he would have are queens plus. And just like last week where I decided to call off for $126, here he raised to 63 with $65 behind. I decided that I'm sure he has me beat, if not dominated. So I lay down ace-king to this particular player. We're in the big blind with queen 9 offsuit, and it's a 5-way limp pot, and we check our option. Flop comes jack 10 deuce with 2 diamonds. We check it. It gets checked around to the button, who puts out a small bet for $7. I call the 7. Person behind me calls the 7, and one other player calls the 7. So we go 4 ways to a turn card with 43 in the pot of a 7 of spades. I check again. It gets checked around to the button, who this time bets out $20. Still giving me a very good price to draw, especially if the other 2 players come along. They both think for a moment before putting in the call. And we go 4 ways to the river of the beautiful 8 of spades. When they put out the river card, I wasn't really even looking at the river card. I was looking at the player on the button to his reaction from the river card. And his eyes kind of lit up. So I'm believing that he made a straight here. And knowing that, I decided to check because I'm after his entire stack and not just one bet. If I lead here, I'll get called, but if I check to him and let him lead, I can get stacks in. So that's what I do. It gets checked to the button, who bets out $75. He has about 220 behind, and I just rip it in. I don't think he can get away from a 9 here, And that's exactly what I'm putting him on. A hand like Jack 9 or 10-9. Anyway, he thinks for just a little bit before saying, what the heck? And he puts in his chips, and we take down this real nice pot. So I'm in the big blind with ace queen of clubs. It gets limped by 5 different players. And when it comes back to me, I decide to raise to 30. I get a caller from the cutoff for the 30. Flop comes 9, 5, deuce, 2 hearts, 1 club. I do a standard continuation bet here for $25. He puts in the quick call. Turn card comes as an 8 of spades. I don't think he has a pair. He probably has something like ace queen, ace jack, maybe ace king. But I decided to put him to the test and bet out 80. And he quickly folds, and we take this one down. Overall, it was a good day. We were in for 500, out for 1050 after taking care of the staff. We spent about 3, maybe 3.5 hours at the casino. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Until then, good luck at the tables.